My friends, if you're being honest with yourself, here's the problem we're going to solve today. Right? You keep trying to become a better version of yourself, but under stress, you keep snapping back to that old version, that same pattern. You set goals, you start strong, and then fatigue, pressure, emotions, they just begin to take over. So the real problem isn't that you want to change. Because, my friends, we all want to change. We all want to transform. We all want to become something better, a better version of who we are. But what we don't realize is that it's our identity that collapses under this real life. So today I want to show you the solution. I want to show you how to rebuild your identity from the inside out, so that the version of you that you're aiming to achieve in 2026 doesn't just disappear. It pushes through those hard times. So here's exactly what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you why identity keeps falling apart. I'm going to explain to you what identity actually is in just regular practical terms. And then I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step how to retrain your identity. Plainly, no hype. Because, my friends, this isn't about motivation. We're all motivated to change. But when we begin to build our identity and we begin to transform our identity so deep in your nervous system, this is where it can actually be maintained. Now, my friends, most people try to change this in reverse order. They start by, what habits should I build? What goals should I be going after this year? What should I force myself to do differently? But behavior doesn't create identity. Identity, who you truly are, creates the behavior. So what actually happens in this? You try to act like the future version of yourself. But your nervous system internally is trained to who you are by your past. So when stress shows up and things get a little bit more difficult, you get tired, you have conflict, maybe you're overwhelmed, your system doesn't choose who you want to be. It defaults back to who you already are and who it knows that you are in tough situations. Now, my friends, I want to remind you, this is not a character flaw, right? This is just how the system works. So here's the part that I want to give you that just really clears up so much confusion. Identity, who you are, is not mindset. It's not the decision. It's not a declaration. But your identity is truly who you are and who you become under pressure. Because we really show up in those tough times. But your identity, it lives in your nervous system. It lives in your emotional reflections. It lives in these default reactions that we have. So that's when they're in tough situations, people will say things like, I don't feel like myself anymore. And what they actually mean is my internal system is trained for a version of life I don't want anymore. And no amount of positive thinking is going to retrain your system. Systems change through experience, not intention. So you have to begin to live in a different identity through new experiences and begin to shift. So I want to give you a bunch of little steps that you can do to really begin to shift your identity. And it has to happen in this order. So step one is to regulate before reinvention. So before you become someone new, before you become that higher version of yourself, your system has to feel safe. Calm comes before confidence. Stability comes before discipline. And an unregulated system will sabotage every new identity you try to build. Everyone. And that's not because you're weak. It's because it's trying to protect you. because you're going into that fight, flight, or freeze response, and your reptilian brain, your fight brain, is going to shut down every other thing because it feels like you're not in the right place, that you're scared, that you need to solve this. So the first goal isn't to be better. It's to be more regulated. So you want to be safe. Step 2 is small proof beats big promises. So life doesn't change through declarations like, this is the new me. It changes through evidence. It changes through, you know what? I followed through once. I stayed calm once. I kept that small promise that I put out for myself. And reminding yourself that you do this and you've done this is going to rewire your nervous system to say, yeah, this is who I want to become. So you keep doing these. No big wins, no huge things, but just repeatable little ones. And then consistency, doing these small little things consistently, it's going to train your identity. And this is where your life's going to shift, because intensity, when things are intense and you try to push through and you try to change these big dramatic ways, this is not what's going to change your identity. You have to do these small wins. Now, step 3 is to train the version of you that shows up under stress. So you have to pay attention to that. Who are you in these stressful times? Because the version of you that matters most isn't who you are on that good day, right? It shows up when you're tired, when you're overwhelmed, when you're emotionally activated. This is who you truly are. Because, my friends, we can fake stuff all day long. We can fake stuff when we're feeling good. We can, become a different version of who we want to be when we're in a good state of mind. But when we're in a mad state or we're in a lower state, we can't play the game anymore. So we begin to be who we truly are. So this is when your identity, when you truly know who you are, is when you're going through those tough times. And that's the version that you train. Not by force, right? Like I said to you before, it's not this intensity. It's not by force, but you begin to recognize and notice these patterns. And then you add structure where things begin to fall apart. And that's the 3-step process. It's very simple to do, but simple, it's not always easy, my friends. So I want to give you a simple practice, very simple practice that you can start today. Because when you begin today, that's when you begin to shift. So at the end of every day, grab your journal. Ask yourself these 2 powerful questions. 1, which version of me showed up today? Who was I? Was I my lower self? Was I my highest self? Was I my old self, my new self? Who showed up in those tough times that I dealt with today? And then the second question I want you to ask yourself is, did that version match who I'm trying and training to become? Did that version match who I'm training myself to become? Did it? Is it who you want to be in those tough times? When you write these questions, you need to do it without judgment. You need to do it without trying to fix it. No, that wasn't who I want to do. No. Stop right there. Just no fixing. Just notice. Just bring awareness to this situation, because over the next few months here on this channel, we're going to dive deeper into this, and we're going to show you how to actually fix that. But today we want to just bring awareness, because awareness is the first signal your system needs. Because when you can start to see it, you go, okay, I really recognize this within myself, so I can begin to change the patterns and create that outcome in that life of who I want to be. My friends, you don't need to rebuild yourself by becoming someone else. You don't need to. We always feel we have to become somebody else, and we don't. You rebuild yourself by intentionally training the version of you that shows up when life applies pressure. 2026, this new year here, my friends, does not need a hype up version of you. You don't have to, I'm going to transform January 1st. We're on the 9th now. So it's already been a week and a bit. Are you who you wanted to be? Right? It doesn't need that hyped up version. It needs a grounded identity that can hold under stress, emotion, and real life. Because, my friends, real life is what's going to hit us. Real life is where our life transforms. And that's what inside out transformation truly looks like. If this helped you, my friends, stay connected. This month, we're not chasing motivation. What we're doing is we're going to rebuild your identity, and we're going to do it on purpose. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you subscribe, like, share, because we all need this identity change to become that greater version that we're all trying to be.